All right, this is lesson 1.4, graphing and labeling lines, segments, and rays accurately based on given statements. So first we have to start with what the definition of an ordered pair is. An ordered pair is basically just a location. So usually it's x, okay, that's not true. Always it's xy, and it gives a location. So we'll practice. If we label A on this graph, 7, 3, X is this direction and Y is this direction. It's alphabetical. So you have to go forward, starting in the origin. You go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then up 3, 1, 2, 3. Make sure you put a letter because in this section it depends which dot is which or which coordinate is which, because you're going to have arrows and non-arrows and things like that. So you want to make sure you label it. Next we'll do B. So if B is negative 4, 2, that means backwards from the origin, backwards 4, up 2. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, 2. That's B. Then if we look at C, that one's negative 6, negative 8. So we're going to go backwards and we're going to go down. So we're going to go backwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is C. You just have to be cautious to make sure you go in the right direction. Even sometimes when I get going too quickly, I can go the wrong direction first, like Y first and then X. So right now, if you guys wouldn't mind, if you could pause the video and try to graph D, E, and F. E and F are pretty tricky. That's meant to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So try that. If you get it wrong, it's not a big deal. So pause the video and try to graph D, E, and F. All right, D is 5, negative 7. So you would start at the origin again, and you're going to go forward 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then negative 7. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So E is 0, negative 5. So 0 first means don't move left or right. So you're just going to stay stuck in the middle, but then you're going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right here, that is E. Yellow was the worst color, but it's happening. And then F is kind of the reverse. So that one's 7, 0. So that means move forward 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But don't go up or down. So that's this one here. You guys might guess that a lot of times students will accidentally flip-flop these two just because it's easy to do. So just be aware of what you do first. Okay, so that was just a refresher from like algebra. Here's the new kind of geometry piece to it. So if you look at this image, there's 2 arrows on the end of this little line. That signifies that this is a line. So your teachers were probably a pain in the butt when you were in junior high about making sure you put arrows on the end of your line. That's because it'll tell whether it's a line or a segment. So you need arrows at the end to show it's a line. This other one has nothing, and if you don't put arrows, that is a segment. That's why they were butt heads, because if you don't do it, you're saying this is just a segment and the line goes on forever. And then last, this one has 1 arrow. This is called a ray. So there are lines, segments, and rays, and the only way you can really tell what's going on is to look at the line above the statement. We just talked about this. Aside from the letters themselves, what do you notice is different about these 3 statements? It is the arrows. And then here it says, what's the difference between these 2 statements? Take a second to think about it. Pause the video if you don't want to hear the answer. You probably noticed that the arrow is above the A in this image and it's above the D in this image. So that's why at the very start with the coordinates, when we were graphing ordered pairs, I said make sure you label them because one of these is going to look different from the other. So here the arrow has moved. All right, let's graph some of these. So this first one we're doing is, it says graph the following line segments or arrays and name them appropriately. So what I mean by that is like, is this a line, a segment, or array? It has 2 arrows, which means it's a line. We'll call it line AB. That's how you'd read it. So we really only need to graph these 2 coordinates. You don't have to do all of them. So A is 7, 3, 7, 3. And then B is negative 4, 2. And again, put your letters there because sometimes it's going to make a huge difference. And then make sure, a lot of times my students will forget to do this. You got to like put that in there. And just like the picture has 2 arrows on the end, you should have 2 arrows on the end of yours. Like that. All right, a couple more. I'll do BC, and then I want you guys to pause the video, and I want you to do DA. So BC, I need these guys. B is negative 4, 2. C is negative 6. Oof, that's low. All right, negative 6, negative 8. That's C. Now, what is happening? So with this one, the arrow is above the B, which means that we should have an arrow on the B side. So when you connect these, you're going to start directly at the C. Don't go beyond it. And you're going to go through the B and put your arrow there. These are both examples of rays. So I want you to pause the video and try to do DA. Okay, DA is, so the coordinate for A is 7, 3. D is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 7 here. That's D. This one, the arrow is over A. So we're going to start at D, go through A, and put our arrow on the A side. All right, last one, and then you guys can start your work. So this one is DC, and you'll notice there are no markings, like no arrows on this one. It means this is a segment. DC, that. We want to go negative 6, negative 8. And then D is 5, negative 7. And then this one has no arrows, so we're just going to literally connect the 2. Don't go beyond it. And then that's it. So down here in the summary section, if you want to summarize anything, I'd maybe go ray and then have 1 arrow like that, line, 2 arrows, and then segment, no arrows. And then I might do something like this, XY. X is sideways, and then Y is up and down. All right, so now you should go work on your 1.4 homework where you're going to graph some line segments and rays.